Hi there, I'm Lightbath. There are a few things I love more than sitting by the fire with a hot cup of modular synthesizer.
But I also love making music in the computer because of what feels like endless possibilities. But
traveling with a modular isn't always easy, especially when a mixer and outboard effects are included. It's heavy and cumbersome.
And that is why I'm building a compact hardware plus software modular system for greater flexibility and portability. I hope you follow along throughout this series as I design and implement this portable system and explore my own flavor of generative musical processes. Today we'll start with the foundation, the Eurorack case, and the choice of modules. We'll use international carry-on restrictions to keep the system small and light, while retaining much of the modular processes I've developed these past few years. Boom. Brand new MDR case, 84 HP, 6U. It's a cute little baby, just big enough to fit what I need, just small enough to take on a flight, to head to Europe, to do the things as the Lightbath. So let's take a look at it. I'm just gonna take this top off. Take your top off. I chose a Moleco board because it's so slim. This allows me to fit one of my deepest modules that will be over top of the board. And I'm going to mount it with these 1/2-inch standoffs. So I connected these already because they're really hard to connect. The Moleco board requires fast-on connectors, and they are not fast to get on or off. They're difficult on connectors is what they should be called. So what we're going to do today is use these standoffs. The holes that are in this board use a 6-32, and that comes out to 3.5 millimeters. These I think are for 3.2, but I'm hoping it's going to work. We will find out now. This case is built around the Expert Sleeper's ES9. I want to travel in Europe to do these master classes at a few universities and play these concert events at those universities and their respective venues and play some other shows. And I want to be able to get around easily. The idea was I just want my small Pelican case that's a carry-on and a backpack with everything else that I need. I wanted to keep this system light, but here's the thing, 84 HP 6U, I can't make a full system with like 3 voices maybe. Even 2 voices is kind of hard in something this size, especially when you're using something like Magneto and Renee. So I had been using the ADAC 221 and 222. They were my first modules to take CV from the case and turn it into MIDI data for the computer. And it blew my mind. I was using a bunch of stuff I got from Native Instruments, a bunch of Contact instruments. I did a couple remixes, reworks using that system. But those ADAC modules are really big, and although they're very easy to use and there's literally no setup involved, you just plug into them and they work, they're part of my studio case. And so I wanted a one-stop shop that was going to take care of audio and CV. And that's what this does. It's an audio interface, basically, a DC-coupled audio interface. And so you have these 8 modular level outputs and these 14 modular level inputs, in addition to stereo line level outs for mains, you know, and then a headphone mix too with a knob. So the idea here is generate clocks inside of the computer, send that to Renee. Renee does stuff with a synthy voice up here, the usual thing, the thing I wrote about in the Patch and Tweak book, and also malt those and send them back into here and control stuff in the computer with that, and then have a little micro marbles down here and use that the way I've been using it. So in other words, generate most of the pitch and rhythmic, well, pitch at least, information and a lot of the rhythmic information in here, and send it to the computer and have it playing instruments in there. but then also take the audio from here and send that into the computer for further processing. So, you know, it kind of starts in the computer with the clocks, with the rhythms, comes into here, gets turned into audio, gets processed, also goes out. It's just all of this back and forth, and it all can happen here, and I can just show up to the thing and plug these things into a direct box and be done, which is a lot less than I've been doing for all of these shows. The Milkfest 2018 set, for example, you know, I had the IntelliGel 7U104 HP case, plus an additional mixer on the side, the little Mackie with like a bim and a bam, and it was just so much stuff to walk around with. I had a heavy Pelican, and then a lightweight Pelican, and then a backpack, and I'm just like, can't get around. And people would see me walking in Durham where Milkfest is, and they would offer help. They'd be like, do you need a hand? Shout out to those who have given me a hand carting gear. I appreciate your help. But I didn't want to have to rely on that in Europe, and so that's this.
Okay, let's operate.
So now. There, oh, there. Okay, pressing down. Boom, 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 and swish. All right, we have mounted the board. Let's power this on first to check to see that everything is working. So it looks like everything's cool. So let's start. Nanorand. Oh, I should have turned it off. I shouldn't have done that. That's dangerous. All right, so we're working there. Let's turn it off. Next module. Can anybody guess? Correct. I think I heard somebody say STO. That is correct. We're gonna have two STOs actually. When I was using my IntelliGel case, I fried my Antumbra Cara, which is the micro marbles. Momo Modular is who I got it from, and they were so nice. I was like, oh, I hate to say it, I fried my module, and they were like, we got you, and they totally fixed it. All I had to do was send it to them. So I don't have it yet, so I won't be putting it in here now on video. I'll just put a spacer in its place because space is the place. So next module, Opto. Look at these short little cables. Just Friends is such a big part of the way I work with polyrhythmic material. My favorite filter in the world, it has this sound. And when you do the feedback, the switch, you get that cross modulation and whatever modulation the S stands for. Self, possibly, I don't even remember, even though I helped to write the manual. This just gets me these zones, and I'll show you in later episodes of this series what actually I'm doing with it. It's boom, it worked. Ooh, look at that. What have we forgotten? I was supposed to turn it on after every module to make sure it worked. All right, let's just throw caution to the wind and do it. Okay, it's working. So what we have on the bottom left is probably my favorite gestural controller in Eurorack, at least that I own, and that's planar. The new planar. But I wonder if I would really be into, what's that thing that IntelliGel makes with the 4 pads and the touch thing, and it's like a whatever? I'd really like to check that out at some point. All right, we have that. We then have Renee, the new Renee. And now we're going to have a space is the place for the Cara module. If you watched my Joy of Patching video, I had just gotten Quant Gemmy then. As I had said in that video, it's going to go into my performance case. Here it is in my performance case. I really wanted to use DivKid's Oct. I was using it in a previous incarnation of this case, but I decided that I wanted to instead use the DivKid mutes because I want to be able to mute when certain channels from Renee, which are malted, are going into the computer. Buffered malt, it's important to have a buffered malt to be able to malt what's coming out of Renee so that Renee can control both what's in here and the computer, and it's got to be buffered because you have to buffer your pitch CV, otherwise it won't stay perfectly in tune, or it won't stay very well, very in tune. And last, the ES9. So I'm assuming everything's cool. I'm not monitoring any audio or anything like that. Let's screw them down. I will grab my pen magnet, secret of the sliding nuts, and we'll get started. Pelican Case. This is the, I don't even know the name of it, but it's the Air that's the carry-on. I measured it, and it seemed like the dimensions of this MDR case would fit in it. Well, yes and no. The case fits inside of here, but the foam is, I figured it would be able to compress more than half of its size. It's not quite the case. What I do is I put the case inside of the foam first, and then, and this is where it gets a little difficult. So you see it went in. I had to push a little hard to get it down in there. And this happens. Do you see how it's bowing? It's like wider and back to normal. This does not want to shut properly because this will not align over this without much effort. It's like sit down on top of it on the floor sort of deal. And so that's an issue because I don't trust TSA with being able to even close this thing. I'm sure there are companies that make like laser cut foam for inside of here. In the next video, we are going to start to talk about how this stuff is patched together, how I'm using it, and move forward into the zones of the computer and what's going on the software side of things. Thanks for watching. See you next time.